This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and I'm really pleased to have back in the studio with me Angel Padilla, who is a member of the Indivisible team. He's the co-author of Indivisible, a practical guide for resisting Trump. The website, of course, is indivisible.guide, indivisibleguide.com or indivisible.us, right?
No, Indivisible Guide.
Oh, just indivisibleguide.com. Thank you. I'm sorry. If you forget that I said that.
No worries.
So Angel, what are you guys up to right now? What's going on?
It's been an amazing last basically 6 weeks, right? Went from a Google Doc to now, a functioning website with.
Actually, if for people who didn't hear you the last time you were on the show, maybe we should spend a minute or two just rebooting exactly what Indivisible is and how you guys got here.
So basically, after the election, there was a group of us who had some experience in Congress, and we thought, okay, what do we do now? We went through the stages of grief, and then we said, okay, we can do something about this. So we put together a document basically laying out what you can do as a constituent to stop the Trump agenda. Mm-hmm. And so we put a document together, a 26-page document on Google Docs. Went viral. People couldn't download it. It was so busy. The website was turning people away. And through all that attention, we managed to get a website with a bunch of volunteers. Over 70 volunteers now work with us who work in, before going to work and when they get home and on the weekends. So we have a fully functional website with a directory, which is probably the most important thing for your viewers. That has information about local groups near you. So you can put in your zip code and it'll tell you where there's a group near you that you can connect with.
An Indivisible group.
Yes,
This is indivisibleguide.com. Yes. And you can, by the way, you can tweet Angel at it would be spelled Angel, Angel, RAF, Padilla, Padilla is your Twitter, and then or at Indivisible Team. So back to where we're at now, Angel.
Yeah. So it's been great. So we have now over 4,000 groups that have registered around the country. We are in every congressional district in the country. Over 1 million people have downloaded our guide. And we have close to 200,000 people on our mailing list. So a huge, huge group of people that are really, really passionate and active and ready to oppose the Trump agenda.
This is in the last 4 weeks?
Yeah, 5-6 weeks. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it went viral, and really it just speaks to this need that people have, right? They want to do something. They see the destructive force of this new president, and they want to do something about it.
Now, you and your colleagues all worked on Capitol Hill. You were staffers to members of Congress, presumably Democratic members of Congress. I have been strongly encouraging people for the 14, 15 years we've been doing this show to show up at their local Democratic Party, volunteer to be a precinct committee person. They're the people who pick the primary candidates. They're the people who write the platforms. They're the ones who control the party. I was talking with Larry Cohen a couple of days ago, who's the CEO of ourrevolution.com, that came out of the Bernie campaign. Colleagues of yours, I guess, or, kind of doing similar stuff. And he made the point that there's over 3,000 counties in the United States, and in about 2,000 of them, basically there's no Democratic presence. The Democratic Party very often doesn't even field candidates. I mean, this has to change.
Yeah, I know. And what we've seen are people in every corner of this country who are active and they are engaged and mobilized. A lot of these groups were already meeting, but now they have, I think, hopefully a better target and better resources to really do something about trying to change the politics, right? Our approach, though, is the federal side, right? I mean, there are a ton of things that you can do locally, and we want to encourage all that from happening, but we think that this president can't do anything without working with Congress, and if we can get to Congress, then we can stop him, and that's what we want to see.
He's done a lot with executive orders.
He has, and it's unfortunate. A lot of those, there's already been a legal challenge to the one on Friday. There are a lot of really, really good groups out there, like the ACLU, like the National Immigration Law Center, that are working to try to stop some of these executive orders. But we also think that Congress can do it too, right? There's so many senators and members who haven't said anything about the executive order from Friday, for example. That's unacceptable. They should.
You're talking the Muslim ban.
The Muslim ban, yeah. So at this point, it's not acceptable to not have a position on this. You're either for it or you're against it. We think every member should be against it, and that's why we had a call to action yesterday. And what we're asking groups to do is to talk to their members and say, to the representatives and say, you know what, no justice, no bills. We want to shut down the Senate until the only bill that should come out of the Senate right now is a bill to lift the Muslim ban. And that's the kind of power we want to see, right? He can't do anything. He can only get away with stuff if Congress lets him.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. So what, one of the things that a number of people have called into the program complaining about the fact that they try to reach their members of Congress and they get busy signals, they get recordings. It's like over the last couple of weeks, not only, this is a trick that Republicans have been doing for, the better part of the last at least 4 or 5 years, where they just basically say, I don't want to hear any feedback. I'm not going to do meetings in my district. They're so gerrymandered. They don't give a rat's ass. They don't care.
Yeah.
But now increasingly some Democrats are becoming less available, particularly some of the more conservative Democrats like Joe Manchin and stuff. Sure. So what do you do? You
go down to their office.
Show up in person.
Yeah. They all have regional offices or district offices, and if they can ignore you, they will. But it's your job not to let them, right? They work for you, and you have to show up and make sure that they are listening to you. So they all have, offices that are open to the public. You can go down and insist on being heard. And if they don't want to listen to you, then record it and put it online. Shame them, right? This is unacceptable that your member of Congress wants to ignore you.
Right. Where do we go next? You said the first priority is to say nothing comes out of the Senate until the executive order, barring immigrants and refugees from these 7 countries, has been overturned essentially by Congress. What's next?
Well, there's the next in-district work period is the week of February 20th. And members of Congress usually have these weeks where they have events in the district, and it's a time for them to actually go and do work locally. That's when we're hoping that all the groups will mobilize and go down and speak to their member and tell them.
This is 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, and this is what this week is for. It's an in-district work period. They're supposed to be down in the district working and meeting with constituents, and that's when we hope these groups will go out and tell their members what they think. And it might be the Muslim ban, it might be ACA related, it might be environmental. It's basically stop the destruction of our country and stop the Trump agenda. The message to their members is, you represent us, not the Trump office.
Right. What about corporate power? We've got Democrats who voted, who there was a great piece of legislation actually that had a few Republicans going, with it, to say more libertarian Republicans, but to say that we should be able to import pharmaceuticals from Canada. They're half the price of American pharmaceuticals. They're the exact same drugs. They're made by the exact same companies. In many cases, they're manufactured in the United States. Yeah. And we had 13, as I recall, Democratic senators said no to that. This isn't that's not taking on Trump. That's taking on corporate America. That's taking on Citizens United. Is that part of your agenda as well?
No. Well, so our position is that anything that's coming out right now should definitely be about this Muslim ban. That's just like for us, that's the bottom line. But no, what we're seeing now are these this concerted attack on different groups trying to divide us, and we don't want to get distracted by some of these other issues, right? When they're going after immigrants, they're going after refugees, and there's another executive order that's probably going to get signed today. They're trying to divide communities, and we think it's very important to stay focused on stopping this sort of this long-term and concerted effort to attack our communities.
Yeah. What is the executive order that's probably
the one that we're expecting, and it hasn't been signed yet, but it's basically trying to undermine immigrant access to services that they're already eligible for.
In other words, immigrants can't get food stamps, that kind of thing, or can't go to public universities?
It would, we haven't seen it yet, but it would basically undermine their ability to get, programs like nutrition assistance and some healthcare, things that they're already eligible for, based on lies and myths about, immigrants using too many resources. This is all based on lies, but it's intended to basically make immigrants feel really unsafe, uncomfortable, and to divide communities.
That's amazing. Yeah, they're coming to the United States to go on welfare.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's largely debunked over the years.
Yeah, people really, really want to risk their lives to go on welfare.
But it's a big distraction, right? It's a way of dividing communities. That's why we want to stay together about no to the Trump agenda.
Amen. Angel Padilla is a member of the Indivisible team, co-author of Indivisible, a practical guide for resisting Trump. You can find it at indivisibleguide.com. And Angel, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Great having you.